Now, whether you love them or hate them, New York City newspapers do not let up when they think they're on to something, and they do. Take a look at the Daily News cover here, hammering de Blasio for what they say is essentially a pay-to-play scheme, smacking de Blasio with mayor's gravy train on the front cover this AM. They say the mayor and others in his administration made calls to developers in Brooklyn and Queens seeking donations to the mayor's political committees, some of which help push the mayor's agenda, others that work to elect more Democrats to the state Senate. All the developers had projects near a streetcar line here de Blasio was pushing for. Total donations reached almost $250,000, all to support de Blasio's $2.5 billion streetcar proposal here. And some of the pitches, Andrew, were, and this was done through an LLC. While legal, that way there's a lot of cover here and you can hide the names. When people were going to write checks that had already been solicited by somebody else, some of the mayor's own people said, you're not going to get credit for that with the mayor. These are people who had business before the mayor's office. I get it. This is how politics works and all the rest. But this seems pretty naked. You're going before the mayor, and the day of the meeting or the day before the meeting, a check comes in before you get an audience with the mayor here because it's Friends of New York or whatever it's called.
Yes, and it certainly doesn't look good for the mayor's office, and I'd like to see this flesh out a little bit more because the two groups that he was raising money for were mechanisms for supporting the policy that benefited the mayor and benefited the developers as well. He was already pushing for that streetcar line, and he said, hey, if you give it to my political arm or if you give it to get Senate Democrats elected in Albany, that makes it easier to get this thing passed through that benefits all of us. I'm not sure there's a direct quid pro quo there. I think it's one of those deals, at least from my reading of it, is that, hey, this benefits you, you want to help me get this done, so here's where you send the money.
I get it. I just think it's the timing, Jeannie, of when they were meeting with the mayor, and the coincidence the checks came in right before, as they weren't just friends of the mayor here, but they have business before the city. That's where I think this doesn't smell right. And you got people like Preet Bharara looking into it.
And this is the tip of the iceberg, as we know, with the de Blasio administration about what is going to be coming down the pike. And he has a real problem here because this is somebody who ran and said he was going to clean up City Hall. And he came in, and all we have heard the last 3 years is a drip, drip, drip of these relationships in which he has done anything but. So I think he unfortunately has a real problem on his hands, and the timing couldn't be worse for him coming 11 months out of his re-election. So, you know, Preet Bharara is not going to let this go. And again, this is one of many issues that they are looking into involving this administration. And whether it rises to a quid pro quo, I agree with you, but it smells ugly to people in the city.
Everybody, thank you very much. And on this last story, this is only beginning. Remember, that's the Daily News. They ain't the Post that did this one, okay? So this thing's got legs. Steve, Jeannie, Andrew, guys, great job here. Coming up next, we got to look at some local headlines. Stay with us.